Hey, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
We are Working Class Nerds.
Cue the intro. That's right, we are Working Class Nerds, the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Monday, August 19th, 2019, and you can find this, oh my God, it's only Monday podcast on Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. You can also find us on Twitter. I am at MarcusB814.
And I am at Nick Vern, that's Nickvern. In this week's episode, we're talking about Intisar's blog, This Week in Aurebesh. Yes, and afterwards we'll be putting on the tinfoil hats, discuss some Star Wars conspiracies, and crackpotitude. So, without further ado, Intisar, what have you been up to?
I have been playing quite a bit lately. Double XP is the best. Been raiding, been leveling up a character, and doing a little bit of everything. And working on my blog as well. I'm going away next week, so I'm trying to get all my entries for this month done this week.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Sounds like a lot of work.
That does sound like a lot of work.
Now, what class are you leveling?
I've been leveling a gunslinger on Cecile Sean.
Is there a reason?
Because it's a fun slinger.
But why on the Cecile Sean and not Starforge?
I have too many characters on Starforge, and I had a bunch of Dark versus Light characters who ended up on Cecile Sean, so I was like, let's dust them off and play them for a while.
All right.
Cool.
See, I can't do that because the whole server time thing would mess me up because it's a West Coast time zone.
Oh, okay.
So having just looking at the server clock and it says 3:30 right now,
Instead of 6:30?
it would mess with me hard.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
I totally get that.
So, and what have you been running with operations?
Only been doing story mode stuff lately. I had been working on hard mode Hive Queen, but somebody in the group messed up his arm, so we haven't done any pulls recently.
I wonder who that was that messed up their arm, specifically tore their bicep.
You hear that?
Crickets?
Yes. Yeah. I do want to get back in there. Why don't we?
Well, somebody else had some real world stuff going on as well.
Oh, we can fill that spot. We're going to fill that spot. That's not a problem.
And, I was feeling a little frustration as well.
Oh, let's hear it. I'm dying to hear why, because I guarantee this is the same thing I said to Mr. Matt Pusevich, but please tell me.
It's a extremely challenging fight for a hard mode group. I know the Nightmare Raiders, they're like, oh yeah, this is easy. You just gotta do it right and you'll win, which, easier said than done. And we've done, I think you and I have pulled that boss for 6 or 7 hours, and we're getting it down to 25%. We can keep working at it, but it's at what point does it stop being fun?
Well, right. So the problem is the fight was created for not your traditional group. The group was created for 5 DPS, 1 tank, and 2 healers. And Pusevich and the rest of the BioWare crew can say otherwise.
Right.
But I don't believe that it can be done.
Unless you have that makeup.
Correct.
Group. Yeah.
And because they're you have to be in burn by the 3rd rallying call, because if you're not, there's way too many odds and everybody's dead. You cannot live through that.
Yeah, we tried it with 2 tanks, and we were just not getting anywhere close. You need that extra juice from a 5th DPS.
Well,
I don't know about need, but
yeah. Well,
the faster you kill the boss, the easier it gets.
Well, right. So the mechanics are the first 2 circles to pop the eggs are key. If you pop the red eggs in the beginning, you are ahead of the game because you've gotten those 2 red eggs out of the way right away. But at the same time, there's the other teams are going 1 healer, 1 tank, and 6 DPS to win. And they're saying it's easy peasy. So that's not a traditional group. I just think that fight in the is overtuned for your traditional group, traditional hard mode group. We have some Nightmare Raiders that we all know. We're not calling them out.
That
but
help you guys?
No.
Oh.
No. That's why we were bitching about it. If we were Nightmare Raiders, we'd be like, oh, it's easy.
Right.
But the problem is you can't go there with a traditional group and win.
Right.
Or I haven't. And if there's a group out there that does it, please record it and send it to us, me or Intisar or Nick, because I don't believe it can be done in the traditional fashion. And what I mean is, if you're a jug tank and you just switch to DPS gear, that's not what I'm talking about. 2 true tanks, 4 DPS, and 2 healers.
Right.
And kind of the problem that we were running into is that we don't have a healer who can respec to DPS. Well, they can, but they don't have a strong DPS set. And our tank had the same problem, so we kind of had to go back and do some story mode runs and throw all the gear at him. It's like we got to mess up the group in order to get the fight down, and it's more time not doing the fight than doing the fight.
Okay. So, without further ado, I'd like to. I know Marcus and I have a few questions about your blog that we'd like to get
sure.
Yeah. See, I'm all fired up now. Like, I'm steaming thinking about this Hive Queen fight.
Well,
but here's the thing: is once 6.0 comes out, we'll probably be able to like go in there with 2 people in one shot.
That's true.
I did
fix it.
4-man Nightmare SNV on the test server last week, and that was dumb fun.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I don't think you can do that anymore, though. They've got the level sync working there.
Oh, right. So, do you want to just explain for the viewers at home, or listeners, I should say, what is This Week in Aurebesh?
So it is a blog. It is mainly devoted to SWTOR. Sometimes I'll veer off and talk about other Star Wars things, like I'll review Rise of Skywalker in December, stuff like that. But mainly it's about SWTOR, and mainly it's about how SWTOR uses alien languages in the game. And what I like to do is I take signs or posters or any kind of use of these alien languages, mainly Aurebesh, sometimes Huttese, sometimes Futhoric, some of the other languages out there. And then I will recreate these signs in English to sort of put them in a context of, if you were in this universe, you would understand what that sign means. So by translating it into English, you sort of have a sense of what it's like if you were somebody in the Star Wars universe looking at these posters.
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, me too.
Because we see them all the time, and for all we know, it could say you suck or
Right.
suck less. And we don't even know. We just ride our speeder past it looking at, oh, that's a nice flashing sign. I wish I knew what it said.
Right. That's really cool.
Well, the Aurebesh, it's not really a language. Sort of the letters have been around in Star Wars since I think the early mid-90s, and a lot of the signs in the game can be read. And I've known Aurebesh since then, so I would sometimes stop and kind of piece together what the signs were. And it's like, oh, that's cool. That means something. A lot of them don't, but some of them do. It's like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense. Like there are signs on Coruscant about Coruscant, and the stuff on Nar Shaddaa has to do with like clubs and like the triple X signs outside the strip clubs, stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
That's funny.
That is really funny. I wouldn't expect a lot of them to be like relevant to whatever environment they're in. That's cool that they take the time to do that.
They should put working class nerds in Aurebesh in Duxon.
That would be perfect. Then they don't have to like
Say they're making favoritism to us.
right, and we'll just Intistar. I'll just make a blog post about it.
Exactly. Oh, look at it. Working class nerds is in Duxon.
Right.
So when did... Go ahead.
Oh, I have noticed that Duxon, or not Duxon, is that the moon? I get it confused with the raid.
So Duxon is the moon.
Right.
Oh, I meant the moon, the planetoid we're going to visit that used to be owned by the Hutts.
I don't know. I know we're going. I know we're going to Mechshaw.
Mechshaw, that's what I got.
That's
that
an
confused with.
asteroid.
Yeah.
Mechshaw is the asteroid. So I watched. Oh man, it's Star Wars Lego on TV. Julia watches it, my daughter, and there's a planet that Han Solo and his like sidekick buddy, and it's not Chewie. They go to, and it looks just like the screenshots from Star Wars, and it's not called Mechshaw, but it's an asteroid that's hollowed out, and everything looks the same. So I wonder if it's like secret, top secret. It is canon, but they can't say it, so they named it a different planet. I'll see if I can find the episode name and number and like let people compare the screenshots to it.
Yeah,
because it really looks like Mechshaw. Anyway, sorry.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
They renamed Korriban when they put it in the Clone Wars. So
what'd they rename it to?
Moribund, I think. George Lucas didn't like the name, so he was like, "Yeah, let's change it."
Lame. I like Korriban. So, translating, different languages, including Aurebesh, from various visuals in the game is clearly a staple of the blog. But I know you also have some translation-related blog posts. How do you go about picking which thing you're going to highlight outside of the traditional translations?
Sometimes it's just stuff that's going on in the game, like when they introduced Dantooine, I had to talk about that. Other times, just things that are on my mind. I have a series called like Dumb Top 5, where I sort of point out things in the game in sort of groups of 5 that maybe people haven't noticed or overlooked. I think my favorite one was the best non-cartel market mounts in the game, because there are all these things in the game that you can sort of have to work for some of them, but they don't come from the cartel market. People complain about it, the market, a lot, but there's stuff you can get in the game that's cool.
Oh yeah, so AIE did a like their mandatory fun night. They did one where you got a mount, so you had to kill certain world bosses and
Exactly.
like ops bosses and stuff, and you get this like, was it called the Vector something mount? I don't know. It was a red mount, and I said to myself, "That's pretty cool." You're getting that, and then if you go on the PTS during 2.0. PTS 2.0, you're going to get the big log tree mount.
I am so there for the log mount. Absolutely.
Well, so I've gone on the PTS once, and I'm just like, meh, I'll wait for Ducks in. But also, once the 2.0 version of the PTS comes out, I'll go do 10 PvP matches. I'll log in, stand there, and do nothing, and then just wait for the match to be over, and I'll get my mount. That's all I want.
Oh, don't do that. That's no fun for the other people. Like, log on with me. We'll do some flashpoints or something. You'll get credit that way.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to be farmed by people and they're going to be like, "Oh, Marcus sucks at PvP."
Well, they wouldn't be wrong. So, obviously you've done a whole bunch of blog posts, but which blog post out of all of them was your favorite? Or maybe do you have a handful of favorites that you can remember?
I did one, I guess, last year for when they released the Solo movie. It's not specifically related to SWTOR, but there were these Solo posters that came out. They were like, red and purple and yellow, and they featured the different characters from the movie. And so I was like, I want to do this in Aurebesh featuring somebody from SWTOR. So I did. Like, I recreated it as closely as I could, these posters, but I translated it from English into Aurebesh, sort of the opposite way of what I usually go. And so I had a poster featuring Darth Mar, and it turned out pretty well, I think.
Can you send it to us?
Yeah, give me one sec, I'll find it.
Sure, take your time. In the meantime, I can cut this part out, but it's a bit of dead air there. I was just gonna move on to the next question, but if you're looking at stuff, sending it to us.
Wait, hold on.
I will wait.
Sorry, I was sending a message. Ready?
Yeah, no, I was gonna have Intisar. He's sending you that
Let's
picture,
see. I'm dying to see it.
so I can't ask him a question, and then he's trying to pull that up too.
It's in the Discord.
Perfect. I'll take a peek too, and I'll just jump into the next question.
Well, that's sweet. You made that?
Yes.
That's wicked cool.
So why don't you post that on Twitter?
I did.
Last year?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember it now, but that's so awesome. You should totally do it again. You should send that to everything. You should get that made as a poster.
I know. I would buy it.
Fuck yeah. I'd pay the $5 in shipping plus whatever the poster cost.
Right.
What does it say?
So it says Sith, a SWTOR story, and then Mar in the big letters. And in the circle it says L, Legacy, which is, it's not related to the poster, but it's related to the design. It's a long story. And then at the bottom, those pips and dashes are the date in Aurebesh.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
I kind of want it.
I know. I do
See,
too.
you should do. See, here's something. You should get 15 of them printed or 50 of them. Sign them at the bottom, mark them 1 for 50, and sell them as a limited run.
I don't want to get sued.
Why would you get sued?
I don't know, Darth Mar.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Well, give them away.
You could give them away if you want.
Yeah, as long as you're giving them away.
I don't think it's a
They
big
could
deal.
still be a limited run. You're not selling them.
Right. True.
That is sweet.
So, in game, what is your favorite thing to do besides go around translating everything?
This is going to make Marcus mad, but my favorite thing is the story. And second, I got to
That
say
doesn't make him mad at all.
group content.
Why would that make me mad?
Well, don't you love Operations the best?
Yeah, but that's because I like the social aspect of it. Like, if it wasn't for Operations, I wouldn't know you.
Oh,
And
sure.
if it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, I like the social side of it. I like the challenge of it. But the story is what keeps you here. You know, the Marauder class story is the greatest story ever. I've only done it like 7 times.
I can't believe you've done the same story over and over.
I haven't even done all the class stories, but I love the Marauder one. And Malavi Quinn has to die every time. That's the only dark side choice I make.
Really? You kill him?
Actually, no, there's another dark side choice that's in the story because somebody's like such a douchebag to me that I'm just like, sorry.
Do you want to do a quick spoiler alert and tell me what you're talking about?
No, I don't remember.
Oh.
But
Well, I kill Barris every time, of course, but every time I murderate
I
him.
think you only have the option to kill him.
I think you're right. But I let
deserves to
Malachi
die.
Quinn live. But every time I talk to him after that point in the story, I just like trash him and like tell him he's a piece of shit, basically.
Well, you can't kill him in the class story.
Oh, you kill him after?
When he comes back, spoiler alert.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Back
So-
at the ranch.
what's your favorite class story, Intisar?
All right, this is another controversial pick, but I love the Consular. I really connected with the character early on, and I think she's great. I love her.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, but your main is a healer.
Yes. But if I didn't I really connected with the story. My first character was a gunslinger, but then I started playing the Consular, and I was like, oh, like something happens
way
on
better.
Terrace, where when you did Terrace at launch, you didn't have a mount,
Yep.
you didn't have quick travel, you didn't
Oh,
unlock
it's
the
terrible.
speeder points until you got to them. So you were just slogging through this, zombie infested nuclear waste dump. And so at the end of the story, you go back to the base, and there's this guy there who gives you guff for one of the choices you made. And I
Right.
was like, what the fridge are you talking about? And so, I wanted to just curse him out, and I picked the sort of the choice where you cuss him out. And the Consular, when she gets sassy, is really kind of vicious. And I don't do it a lot, but every once in a while I like to kind of whip it out, and it's that sounds weird out of context, but it just it's so great, and I really connected with the character in that moment. It was great. The character said in a way that was much cooler than I could what I would have said in that moment, and I was like, all right, I love this character, and it's gonna be my main from now on.
That's awesome. So my counselor is level 37, and her name is Maggie, which was named after my dog. And I guess I just don't like throwing rocks. It just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, pebbles.
Pebbles, rocks, same thing. So, Nick, what have you been up to?
So this week, unfortunately, I haven't been playing too many games compared to usual anyways. But I did some other pretty interesting things. Thursday of last week, Mariana and I, best girlfriend in the world, went to a couple of wineries and brought our own giant spread of charcuterie. So like various meats and cheeses and breads and things like that, which was pretty awesome. We made like a whole day out of it. We just like pretended we were fancy and knew what the hell we were talking about and drank a bunch of wine.
Did you swirl the wine in a glass?
Every time.
Okay. So before he takes it, oh, that was awesome.
I could not tell the difference whatsoever, but it looked good. We looked the part.
Oh, that's perfect.
We were
But
just
it's a nice day out.
We were just faking it till we were making it. Yeah, one of them, it was like way up on like a hill, and there was like some crazy views over like all the grape fields and stuff, and like a big valley area. It was nice to do. And then another one, it was like this all Italian style like architecture and Italian style wines, and we did the tasting, and it was like the owner who did it, so it was cool. It was we just pretended we knew what the hell we were talking about and tried a whole bunch of wines and relaxed and ate some stuff. It was great.
Perfect.
I have also been working a ton since our last episode. Specifically, I'd like to highlight a Saturday night into Sunday. I picked up a shift from one of my friends at work who works 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. usually, and it was awful. So originally I was working that 3 p to 3 a shift Saturday into Sunday, but they were super short from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., so they asked me to stay, and I was like, I'm already exhausted. What's another 4 hours, And that was a mistake. That was terrible. I felt awful. Like when I was leaving, I like felt like I was drunk or something.
Yeah, I can't do it, dude.
16 hours and not sleeping proper. Like
No.
if it was 16 hours of me, like I don't know, in hours that like I would have been awake anyways, that's one thing. But 16 hours of like ending when I should have been sleeping 8 hours before, that was just terrible.
I can't do it, dude. I tried once.
That's the first time and the last time I'll do that.
Well, don't say the last time, because if you get a sweet gig and it might be overnight and you just might become
Nocturnal.
a vampire.
Yeah. I already take blood from people. I'm halfway there.
I'm just going to call you Blade.
I'm not as badass as Wesley Snipes.
But-
But, yeah.
Anyway, did you hear about Siege? There's a new operator.
There is. In Siege news, not that that's a frequent segment, but there's a new operator to come out. I forgot her name, but she uses a grappling hook to immediately breach through windows, which is pretty awesome.
So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so I read about this. That's a game changer.
Yeah, like usually
You have to blow up through the windows.
Through windows, right. So there's wooden boards on all the windows, and you have to rappel, so you'll throw like a grappling hook, yes, but it's attached to the roof, and then you have to, walk up the wall of the building, and then you can peek into the window.
Right.
With this ability, you just throw the grappling hook at like the windowsill basically, and you burst right through. So typically you don't. Normally it takes 3 like melee hits to break open the barricade for you can be able to get through. This you can just grapple right through the barricade through the window, which is pretty awesome.
The thing about this is, so it's both sides. So the window's going to blow out right away.
Yeah.
So if you're in that room, you're going to be like, okay, here they come.
Right. But at the same time, you can surprise people if they're not paying attention and you know where they might be.
Right. Like if Chichanka is just sitting there posted on a gun.
Yeah.
And they hear some glass breaking behind them, but who cares?
Yeah, they don't notice or whatever.
Correct.
They don't turn in time, and they just come in guns blazing. You can shoot them. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
I have enough renown, so it's like the in-game points saved up to unlock her right away. I have 25,000 already.
Oh, that's perfect. So you get her for free.
So I can, so you don't have to pay any. You can pay money to get them immediately, or like play a bunch of hours in games. And
Yeah, so it's
win 'em.
it's a typical free to play. Yeah, you can free and play and never spend $1, but you're going to have to earn it,
Right.
or you can just pay $10 now and get it.
Right.
Perfect.
So I'm looking forward to that. It should be cool to try. Marcus, do you have anything uplifting to talk about since it's been all arm sadness all the time past couple episodes?
I do have a ton to talk about. So I just want to give you the big middle finger.
Oh.
I would say the words, but I don't want to. So there it is. Okay?
It's a good thing this episode's not live.
Correct. There's a middle finger, and it's pointing at Nick, because I was on the AIE podcast last Sunday night. And thanks to Nick, I'm officially known as the cheerleader of AIE.
When did I say that? I know I definitely said it. I just forgot.
Many times.
Yeah.
There's not been just once.
It was a few times.
So we were so they had me on the show to talk about the community and kind of like. So Intisar's guild is the New Outriders.
Yep.
And we have AIE as a community. Every time we have a big event, we invite them to come with us. They want to come, all is welcome. Any event we have, it's always open to everybody. But it's almost like that subculture that we've grabbed onto and created, that we want everybody to come play with us. Like, Intisar doesn't have to be in our guild to come play with us, but he's known in our guild now because of his blog and because he plays with us in SOTOR, that he comes and joins. Now the next step would be maybe not in SOTOR, but maybe if he played World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 or some other game that we play, next thing you know, he's in the AIE guild, just in a different game division. And that's how the community stays tight-knit and grows at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody in his guild decides that they're trying a new MMO, but the New Outriders may not have a division. Because I'm trying to remember, you guys have a bunch of game divisions, Intisar, right?
Yeah, Guild Wars and Neverwinter and some other stuff, I think.
Right. I don't remember seeing a World of Warcraft or a Final Fantasy 14. So let's say they play that, and they're like, Intisar, where should we go? Hey, go over to the AIE guild and check them out, because I know they have a game division there, and it's never a competition. We're never trying to steal members, but it's just nice to bring the community closer together.
Yeah.
And
it's just like intermingling, not like stealing or whatever.
Hence cheerleading.
Right, so you're the cheerleader.
Yeah, so they made me an officer to do this job.
To pump up the...
Well, it's to pump it up and to grow the community. You know, there's so many guilds in SOTOR that come play with us, even though they're not in our guild.
Right.
And it's great because, you know, when you play with the same people all the time, as great as it is, but it doesn't grow. You stay at that one level.
Right.
But when you get a bunch of people together that are outside, you know, maybe they have an alt, and maybe they want the Conquest perk or another game's perk system that we get. Because, like in AIE, we just graduated our guild level, and now we get a +8 for mastery for operations, which is huge. Like,
that is huge.
If you don't have that perk, you're not getting that +8. So, you know, it may not be a big difference, but it helps out a ton.
Yeah.
Also, in Death Star Troopers news, so there's a boss on Zyos called the Colossal Monolith. I've never beaten the boss on story mode ever. And our main tank was out last night, so we had a fill-in tank, and I was like, I want to do something different. I'm sick of the grind. Let's go do something fun. Come to find out, there was like 6 of us that didn't have that achievement.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we did it on story mode. I didn't know this until the night. I was going to go right into hard mode. But in order to go to hard mode, you have to beat the world boss on that planet to get a buff. Then you can go fight it on hard mode.
Oh. Okay.
So it's like almost like a mini operation, essentially, because you have to beat 2 bosses.
Right.
I didn't know that. Did you know that, Intisar?
Yes. The hard mode version of Monolith is super tough. I've never even come close to beating it.
Right, and that's kind of what we were said there, like, that fight is ridiculous. Do you notice that there's never any pug groups trying to do it? I'm like, oh. But see, that to me is something that the devs should know. Like, if the fight is too ridiculous that nobody's doing it, what's the point of it being in the game? Because if no
story mode is tricky.
Well, it's the first time. I've been playing the game years. It's the first time we did it on story mode last night. And there's a lot of mechanics. There's a lot of things going on the floor. And let me tell you, if you're melee, it's tough. There's a lot of stuff on the ground you got to watch out for. So, anyway, so after that, we went to Temple of Sacrifice hard mode and started progression on that. Again, next week, we're going back.
How far did you get?
We are on the first boss, the mother of all Masasi. We did not clear that first boss.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, you know, I think it was a bunch of people forgot how the story mode mechanics are. I think we kind of lost our groove because when you go do like an instance boss, it's not like I feel like when you go into an operation, you like build your momentum as you're beating bosses, and I think we just a bunch of us didn't get the mechanics right, and that's okay.
Yeah. And,
So
it's
next
your
week,
first time.
Right, exactly. So the week before we went to Gods from the Machine, and we got tithe to 14%, which is huge. So next week, I think we're going back to Gods from the Machine because before 6.0, I really want to try because the only 3 ops that we have left to beat on hard mode are Temple of Sacrifice, Ravagers, and Gods from the Machine. So I almost want to take a couple weeks to do each one, clear as many bosses as we can before 6.0, and then focus on one of the ops until Duxin comes. Because once Duxin comes, we're going to all be playing the story as much as we possibly can to gear our tunes, and then going to Duxin to get gear. It's pretty much going to be Duxin forever. So then the Fortitude Tuscan City Raiders team, that is my Monday night team. We're currently working on Dread Fortress again. And I say again because I spent months there with Death Star Troopers.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Do you miss Brontes yet?
See, honestly, the Brontes fight is awesome to me. There's so much going on. There's so much to do, all that stuff. I just don't like Draxus. I think it's because it's just wave after wave after wave. And, like, everybody is tested. You need to cleanse the grenade. You got to make sure you cleanse any debuff. You got Mass Affliction. Then the Guardians, if the tanks aren't handling the Guardians right, there's a lot of damage going out. There's certain times where you can hit the boss, but if you hit the boss too much and you clear out the ads, the next wave starts. It's just mayhem. Absolute mayhem.
I like Draxus because it's one of those fights where you start it and you're like, well, we're never going to beat this. But at the end, when it just clicks, like it just gets smooth.
Oh, I agree. And it's a 7-minute enrage. And now we don't come close to the enrage. But when we first started it, man, it was tough. And then you finally get to the final phase, Nick.
Yep.
And there's a bubble around Draxus, and it takes like, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 seconds or 15 seconds or 20 seconds for the bubble to come off before you can hit him. So you have to work on clearing out the ads beforehand. And then as soon as the bubble drops, everybody has to get to the boss to kill the boss.
Right.
But when that happens, the 2 big main enemies that are there as well, they're Guardians. Mm-hmm. If they hit their attack hits you, it like can wipe the group.
Jeez.
So like, and it's really hard on one of the tanks because one of the tanks has to handle them both and get them facing away, and they drop aggro. The fight is crazy. But like Intisar said, once you get the dance, it's easy.
Okay.
So we're there again. So I got a Switch, I don't know, some weeks ago.
A couple months ago, probably.
And I've had a complete addiction to it. I bought a bunch of games. But DC Universe Online just came out for it this past week, and I downloaded it, and it's so much fun. The only thing I wish the Switch had now is like a Verizon data card in it so I could play it everywhere.
Right. Like a SIM card or whatever?
Yeah, like the MMO itself might not be great, but the fact that I can do an MMO, like the grind and like just play story and all that stuff is awesome. I guess I'm that kind of player because I'm enjoying that more than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, you like the grind of leveling up.
Well, no, I just like an MMO style. Like, I guess it's linear. Okay, go kill 10 of these and go kill this.
Right. Instead of Breath of the Wild is much more open-ended.
Yeah, way open, and
it's like you have like an objective, but it's like
a million miles away.
And there's all these things in between that you can get distracted doing.
Yeah, and then if you die, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been doing that. So as we said before in SOTOR news,
the PTS has been up and then down, up then down, and Marcus apparently will wait for PTS 2.0 to come out before you start really grinding in there.
So, as we said earlier, they're releasing a log mount that's only going to be on the PTS.
That's
That's
cool.
the only way you can get it. Yeah, it's like almost like a reward.
For like helping them figure out.
I think
the
there's
bugs.
other ones. Intisar, what are the other? I know there's 3 things you can get, right?
I think there are 2 titles that you can get as well.
Okay. So I don't really care about the titles.
I wouldn't really either. I'd be more interested in that long mount.
Well, that's it. That's just to drive around and say, yeah, I did the testing.
Right.
But it's not available now, and your progress that you've done in the PTS prior to that doesn't count as well.
Okay.
So I went into the PTS once. I've already said this. But, meh,
Yeah.
you know,
I get you.
once Duxon is on the PTS, I'll get the Death Star Troopers to download the PTS so we can at least do it for one night and have Matt Pusevich mess with us and make some of us really big and some of us really small. But
That'd be cool.
But it's really, I'll test it once just so I can see a little bit of it.
Right.
And I'm curious now how it's all going to work. But here's the $1 million question.
Mm-hmm.
Remember in the interview, Nick, when we were talking to Pusevich, and they were talking about how all the ops are going to be level scaled?
Yes.
So Dread Fortress is going to be level 55, and Gods from the Machine is going to be level 70, or maybe they're going to bump that one up to 75. I'm not sure. So there's going to be all different EV and KP are going to be level 50. So all these ops are going to be different level scales,
Right.
right? So when you go into a level 50 op, you're going to be doing 3,000 DPS instead of 8,000 DPS.
Right.
Okay? So there's a dummy that you have to parse. So you can practice your rotation and know what you're doing.
Oh, okay. Like on that level scaling.
So my question
Yeah.
is, and I've sent this question in, and me and Dr. Sotor were talking about it, and he actually tweeted it out because I was driving, and he's like, that's such a great question. Will the parsing dummy have a toggle to scale down or up?
Oh, that's a good idea. So you could see exactly
How you're doing.
how you're doing, and how you will do in these
Correct.
level scaled operations.
What do you think, Intisar?
That seems doable. I mean, the dummy in the Rishi Stronghold has a bunch of options, and so it seems like you should be able to do that.
But it doesn't seem too complicated because the same mechanics that would be scaling you up or down or whatever would also be in effect when you go into that dummy.
Right, because if you go to the dummy in the 2.5 million hitbox for the dummy,
Yeah.
and you say, okay, I'm going to do a level 50, it takes that 2.5 million and brings it down to 500,000
Right.
because you're doing so much less damage.
Right.
But how are you supposed to know how you're doing or if you can clear that content if you're at max level and the dummy's at max level and you're doing 10,000 DPS, but then you get into that up and you're only doing 3,000 DPS? How do you know you're doing enough?
Right. Right.
It's going to be really hard, I would say, for the Nightmare players to do that. And it's really boggling me, like, to think about that, because how can you practice without knowing?
Right.
Like we were always taught, practice makes perfect.
Right.
But how can you practice if you don't know what perfect is?
Yeah, I get you.
So, and if they do decide to do that, I'm taking full credit.
Naturally.
Yeah, of course.
Deal.
The last thing about the PTS is, Intisar, when's it coming out? When is Onslaught coming out? Because they're in
Oh, my
PTS
goodness.
1.5. I've asked everybody. I have my date.
Your theoretical date. In
Yeah,
your
my
head?
theoretical date. Nobody's gonna like to hear what I say. But
November.
yeah, it's absolutely November. But when do you think Onslaught is coming out?
Man. I mean, they've been saying September, and they haven't changed that. But, oh my goodness, like, the PTS is not even... We still
It's August 19th.
Yeah. So we're not into 2.0 yet. How long is that going to last? I was thinking, like, this weekend is the big Disney Expo, right? And they're going to be releasing the new Rise of Skywalker trailer and the Mandalorian trailer, all that stuff.
Hopefully, the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer.
Ooh, that would be sweet.
They might have, like, Ewan McGregor come out, but I don't know if there'll be a
Yeah,
trailer
I
for
think
it.
I think it's too early for that.
Okay, I'm going to tell everybody out there, like, okay, cool, there's a Mandalorian one. I'm going to watch it because it's Star Wars and I'm interested.
Yeah.
But if Ewan McGregor is coming back as Obi-Wan
I'm watching
and it's going to be a TV series,
everything.
that is the hype train.
Yeah.
I don't care about, like, I would rather that than Rise of Skywalker. Just being honest.
I'd probably be more excited for that, yeah.
Like,
I don't know. That's pretty Rise of
Dude.
Skywalker I'm pretty pumped for too.
dude,
though.
it's Ewan McGregor
that's-
coming back as Obi-Wan, and he did so good in the prequels.
I know.
And-
he might be my favorite actor in that
Yeah.
whole series.
And the Master and Apprentice book is really good.
Oh, between him and
Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Because Qui-Gon, like, I thought they were, like, in sync.
Yeah. Not at all.
Not at all. Like, Obi-Wan, like, hates Qui-Gon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't get into it because no spoilers. But anyway, so back to
They should get Liam
Go ahead.
Neeson to show up as a ghost on the show. That would be cool.
I think they're all right, so we're gonna get into the tinfoil hat stuff.
I'm jumping ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Make a note of that.
Yeah.
So, you want me to touch on the little
Wait, no.
blog update?
We can't let him off the hook. We're circling back. When is Onslaught coming out?
Oh, right.
I'm gonna say second week in October. I think they need to stay away from the Fallen Order release, so I think that limits their options. So I think they're going to put something out the door
So you're
before
saying
November.
So you're saying Tuesday, October 8th? That's the second Tuesday of the month.
That's the same week as New York Comic Con, right? Maybe the week after.
No. New York Comic Con is the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Okay. Oh, so it'd be the week after that.
Correct.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe at the cantina we could pour some drinks into some people and get them to tell us it's coming out on Tuesday.
Attention! Working Class Nerds is 100% going to be at the cantina.
Oh, that's true. We forgot to announce that.
And Intisar, you're going too, right?
Yes, 100%. I've got my reservation. I'm bringing
Nice.
swag even. I got the pins being made right now.
Sweet.
Nice.
We should probably get on that and bring some swag.
You know
also.
we're not going to.
We'll
We'll bring some stickers.
I'll have stickers.
Yeah, we'll get some stickers.
I have stickers.
I think I have some left.
I have at least 50.
We're going to need more than that.
I know.
But we won't do anything. Anyway.
But here's my hope that they announce a release date this coming weekend. I think it's an appropriate time. I don't know if EA would give them any time on stage, but it seems like, they can make an announcement themselves.
They can't. I don't think so. I don't think so. Here there's a reason why I don't think Disney is going to promote the Old Republic right now, the game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why, but there's a reason why soon they will. That's my tinfoil hat preview.
Oh, your tinfoil hat discussion trailer.
Yeah. So they mentioned a bunch of stuff on the PTS and about level sync and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to skip over that because we went on a rant.
Bit of a tangent. But in Guild news. Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I'm going to blame Musco because I feel like we should always blame Musco for all the problems in Star Wars. Please keep the PTS up. Stop taking it down. You're going to break Max's heart. He's going to have like a meltdown. Because all he's been talking about for 3 weeks how he just wants an episode of their podcast on the PTS. And they release it on like Tuesday.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're going to play on it until Thursday. Thursday comes to record the podcast. They pull the PTS down.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I've been having the same problem. It's like, all right, let's group up, do some stuff. And then the PTS is down. It's like, hooray.
Yeah, do it for Max.
Do it for Max.
Anyway, in Guild news.
August 23rd is the next mega event. That stands for Monthly Epic Guild Activity. And it sounds like it's going to be some Fleet Datacrons with trivia.
Yep. So the Fleet Datacron is a pretty substantial Datacron to get. And from what Max tells me, because I don't have it, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to prepare for it.
Okay.
Because we're doing it on the M side, best side. And and so it's going to be a server-wide event. So mark your calendars. We're going to start promoting it this week because, people's
schedules vary.
Well, and like people, if it's not happening today, they forget about it. So it's this coming Friday. If you're on the Starforge server and you don't have the Fleet Datacron, Figure around 9:30 we'll start pulling people up to it. And it'll probably go for a half an hour or 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how many people come. But anybody on the server that does not have the Fleet Datacron, please come. There will be messages on Twitter and everything else, and we'll go from there.
Plus 10 to all stats.
Yes.
It does?
Yep.
Okay. So in the cheerleader effect of AIE,
Okay.
I've decided that I don't know if it'll be every month because it's kind of a lot. You think hosting an event once a month is easy? It actually takes work to do it,
All right.
to prepare for it. And so going with that, I decided that I'm going to download one of AIE's other MMO games, and I'm going to raid the game.
Okay.
So on September 21st, which is a Saturday Night Lotro, we're going to go to Lord of the Rings Online. I'm going to make a level 1 character. Anybody who wants to come with me, it's completely free. You just have to have download space on your hard drive. And we're going to do the intro quests to almost, I'm going to say, get off the starter planet.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be the beginning part. You know what I mean? Like, get you off the planet so, like, you don't have to do the tutorial. And Mel, our community officer, is going to kind of guide us through. So we'll all make the same class, whether we're an elf or a dwarf or something.
Or, yeah,
we'll all pick
even.
the same class, so, like, we're all in the same area. And he's going to walk us through the quests, like the tutorial quests, so then we can get through. And then what I'm hoping is, I know myself, hopefully maybe I'll like enjoy it and I'll get to go back, or we can get some other people that enjoy the game to start playing more in that game. It's almost going to be like what we're doing with the developers on the show. Like, I want to do like little spotlights on these games to try to boost, the communities in some of these games.
Sure.
And I'm going to start with the free ones because why not? And maybe I'll fall in love with a different game.
You know what Bob says?
No.
I doubt it. So, if all this sounds fun to you, go to ae-guild.org, jump in the Discord, and ask for a guild invite. Whether you play SOTOR or any of the other games that we play, we would love to have you.
Or even just pop by the Discord and say hi.
That's true, too. Don't forget, there's a hashtag Working Class Nerds section in the AIE Discord where you can say hi to Marcus or I.
And don't forget to check out workingclassnerds.com because we have a website that we never go to.
Exactly. So,
Want
Marcus,
to take a break?
I would love to. We'll be right back. And we're back. So today we're discussing Star Wars conspiracies. So,
Tinfoil hats.
yes, it's the crackpotitude section. So
Anything that is possible could be possible.
right, if it's popsicle, it's possible. So first thing on the list.
Wow. And he's not even a dad yet.
First thing on the list. I think Marcus wanted to talk about something specific.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff I want to say. So everything here is just theory. And
Speculation.
yeah, so we were on Sith Talk last week.
Right.
And they're a podcast that just talks Star Wars. And I've never gotten off a podcast so amped up, like,
Wanting to say more.
yeah, like they cut us off at an hour, and I was so like, raw, like there was so
We
much
could've-
more to say, and they're like, we're gonna do this again in another week, and I'm like, we should have just recorded part 2 right then and there,
Right.
because they stirred the pot. So that got Nick and I thinking, and Nick was like, hey, let's continue the conversation of what could be
Yeah.
now.
And we'll just have an episode.
And we'll continue to talk about how bad The Last Jedi was, but we'll only mention that once. Moving on. So, in episode 9 coming, right?
Yep.
So, Luke is one with the Force.
Yeah, he's, basically a Force ghost.
Correct. So, the question is, he's a Force ghost. Is he going to be back with a prominent role as a Force ghost? Or are they going to go back in time and show him training Jedi and doing all that stuff?
Ooh, that would be cool to see. But if I had to guess, and I want to hear Intisar's take also, if I had to guess, it's going to be more like a Obi-Wan Kenobi role in Empire Strikes Back, where he's sort of like lending some guidance here or there, like as a voice, and maybe an apparition, but nothing too crazy.
You will go to the Dagobah system.
Yeah.
There you will meet Yoda.
You don't need the targeting system. Use the Force, Luke.
Okay.
Something like that.
So what you're saying is he's going to be full Force Ghost.
I would say so, yeah.
Intisar, what do you think?
I agree. I don't think we're going to have like flashbacks to young Luke or middle-aged Luke even. I think it's going to be sparkly blue Luke.
Oh, see, I completely disagree with both of you. I think that The Last Jedi was such a crappy movie, and they didn't do Luke justice. Like, the community, listen, we all wanted Luke to be Luke. Like, I understand, like, the sassiness, and you can like that part of it, and, like, he gave up on the Force and whatever. But people, like, this is it. To me, this is make it or break it for Disney.
Okay.
For the Star Wars series. Like, they have to end this series correct.
Yeah.
Okay? And I hate to say it, it's going to be fan service through and through.
Well, right.
But they have to after The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Okay?
I will say this, I loved The Last Jedi, and I think it got Luke perfect. So, but I agree with you. I don't think they're going to take too many risks with this new movie. I think they want, end it on a happy ending. I think it's like the Return of the Jedi of the trilogy. Nothing too crazy is going to happen, Bad guys are going to die, good guys are going to win, happily ever after.
You never know. Rey could go dark.
I would love that. Especially if she used the dark side.
Because that would truly bring balance to the Force.
Right. It would be cool if, just a quick side note, it would be cool if Rey used the dark side of the Force to do some overall good things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like to break the mold of like dark side equals evil. It would be cool to be like, oh, she's actually bringing balance to the Force and
right.
using sort of both sides of the coin to do things that are good for everybody, kind of thing. That would be cool, in my opinion. But
wait,
go ahead.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
So, see, he's always rushing me, Intisar. He like wants me to shut up so he can move down his show notes list, and because he's so like strategic, and he's like, okay, he's done, but I'm not done. What I don't like about The Last Jedi, it was too fairy tale for me, and we don't have to dive down that, but like Rian Johnson, I think, is a brilliant director.
Mm-hmm.
He should have had his own series.
Yeah.
It should have been the JJ series, whether or not JJ didn't want to do Episode 8. Or if that's true, I don't think it is. Because why wouldn't you want the whole trilogy?
Yeah.
But I think it should have been one consistent director. Now, how they fix some of the stuff, I don't know.
Like plot-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be really key. But I'm going to circle back to the Force Ghosts. So you're going to have Obi-Wan. You're going to have Hayden Christensen's going to be back as...
That would be cool.
Well, of course he's going to back. They're bringing back everybody. Everybody who's alive is going to
pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, the Force Ghosts are going to be in. Like Rey's going to be learning from Hayden.
That would be so awesome. What if Hayden Christensen comes back and is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Wow, my mind just went blank.
Kylo.
Thank you, Kylo. Yeah, he's like, "This is how you do dark side things," and like,
well, whatever it is. Well, okay, we'll get into the Emperor.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I think everybody is coming. Obi-Wan, Hayden, Yoda, Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
They have to bring Qui-Gon back.
That would be so cool.
Because like
he was the original Force Ghost creator, correct? Qui-Gon?
What do you mean?
I think I'm going back. This might be in Legends and not like actual canon, but I wasn't Qui-Gon the one that was pioneering how to become a Force Ghost, and then like Yoda and Obi-Wan like actually did it properly.
Yeah, they mentioned it at the very end of Revenge of the Sith that he was going to teach that to Obi-Wan.
Right.
So my point is Qui-Gon, like The Phantom Menace is a better movie to me than The Last Jedi. And yes, it's 20 20 years later, it's easy for me to say that. But other than the dumb metachlorians, it's almost like the Princess Leia Mary Poppins moment.
Right.
Like, other than that, the movie's good. And Darth Maul is the most badass Sith in the entire series. Looks,
Yeah,
everything.
that we see, I
Like-
think so. In
like-
terms of like a pure warrior, that's pretty fair to say.
yeah,
I mean,
like
obviously-
no pure Sith. Like you think you close your eyes, you think Sith, like he's like straight evil
Yeah,
in Episode 1.
yeah. He's just
Like Darth
destruction.
Vader's Darth Vader,
Right.
right? The Emperor's the Emperor, but like Darth Maul is the man.
Yeah, I could see that.
And in that movie, he didn't have many words, but when you first saw him,
you were just
when he jumped off the speeder bike
he's just you're
and he
afraid.
attacked Qui-Gon, you were like,
Oh my
"Oh
God.
no, Qui-Gon's done."
Right.
That's all I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have anything to disagree with me on the whole Force Ghost thing?
No, I think that's fairly accurate. I think it'd be a good way to have some fan service, and it's fairly easy to tie that into the plot also, especially if you have like people, the Emperor coming back already, so you have like a precedent for people coming back in the Force or whatever. So that's already a thing that happens.
Right.
So it's easy to do that with other characters too, even if you only want to have them pop in or out or something.
Sure. Intisar, what do you think?
I agree. I think the big climax of the movie is like, whatever Palpatine or the Emperor is, because we know he's in it, right? And then like all these Force ghosts are going to appear and like help Rey and Finn and Poe beat them back. And that'll be like the redemption moment for Kylo Ren as well.
Wow.
So you think he'll flip?
Oh, for sure. For sure. There is no way Kylo Ren is not redeemed.
See, I disagree. I think he just stays dark and he goes away.
I think
that's like the Skywalkers are gone.
so.
The last.
Anyways,
What's the name of the title?
The
of this
Last
movie?
Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
The
Rise
Rise of
of Skywalker.
Skywalker. Sorry.
Yeah, he's gone, and that's it. And the Skywalkers redeem themselves.
So
He dies dark.
I think, see, what I think, I don't know. It's tough because from a movie making standpoint, I've taken a few movie classes. I think you're totally right, Intisar. I think there's no way he doesn't get redeemed because they made it they teased you with it in The Last Jedi. It's like, ooh, he's kind of helping Rey. You think he's gonna stay and help like the rebellion and stuff, and actually help her, and he goes, nope. He's like, let's take over the galaxy together. So they like bait you with that and then flip it. So that makes me think, because this is obviously a relatively planned out 3-part series, that he's going to get redeemed at the end. And you've had so many moments of, ooh, like even when he kills Han, it's like, ooh, maybe he's not going to. He wanted to and he didn't. Maybe he's not going to. No, he does. So,
Or where he didn't shoot the missile at Leia.
right, exactly. So it's like, it's like they keep playing with that. So I think eventually, like, from a movie making standpoint, they're going to have him be redeemed. But I would like him to stay dark side, and then like Rey being like, "Come on, man!" Like it would be cool if since we're on conspiracy theories and crackpotitude, it would be cool for me if Rey ended up using the dark side to do something good, and then going to Kylo like, "What the fuck, man? I can use the dark side and still be productive towards like the good betterment of people here. Why can't you do that? You don't have to be evil." And then she ends up killing him or something because he just is too stubborn or something like that.
Sure. So
That would be my best of both worlds. But what do you, Marcus? You're I can see the gear spinning.
no. So in the trailer, Rey's in a desert planet, right?
Yeah.
And she jumps over, which we all think is Kylo Ren's speeder
Right.
or TIE fighter.
I knew what you meant. Yep.
Okay. So the big question is, how is Palpatine going to play a role in Episode 9?
So like, I've been thinking, and one of my other questions is like, do we care about Snoke's background at all? And it would be, I don't know if like Snoke and the Emperor need to tie into each other at all. And that's like kind of a separate discussion, but I feel as though if we're going to bring the Emperor back, it would make a lot of sense narratively if he had secretly been there the whole time and we just didn't notice in some form. Like his reveal would tie into some object or theme or something in the previous two movies where we're going, oh my god, that was him pulling the strings the whole time, And the most clear and obvious one is to have him tie into Snoke somehow, but I don't know how that would work.
They could do it like Valkorion in SWOTOR, where it's like he's a spirit who can inhabit different bodies, and like maybe at the end he takes over Kylo.
That would be interesting,
Okay.
and would also be like in sort of the realm of possibilities Sith powers wise, because Darth Bane supposedly did that with Xana.
And in the end of The Last Jedi, Kylo goes complete dark and crazy
Yeah,
after Snoke dies.
right.
So that makes a lot of sense.
So it could have done like an essence transfer.
Yep.
So maybe he was in Snoke
But is it too much for Star Wars?
to like go that deep, because
Yeah.
like the essence transfer thing is from the Darth Bane series of books
Well, I mean, they
originally,
can,
way back.
Well, my whole theory on all this is I think that desert planet is going to bring us. I think Rey is trying to get to Mount Tantus. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
So Mount Tantus is a Legends story of where the Emperor kept all of his secret artifacts
Okay.
and all of his top secret stuff.
Okay.
And I think that's where Rey is going because that's like where Palpatine is, Force Ghost, Essence, whatever.
Yeah, like what's left
And
of
I
him.
think this is going to be a moment where they can tie more of Legends into the story.
Without having to like come out with their own canon versions of the legend stories.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think Thrawn is going to be here.
I would fucking freak out if I saw Thrawn. That would be so cool.
And live action Ahsoka will be in it.
That would be great too.
Anyway, so
That would
Back-
be cool.
I think. Okay, so now we're 3 of 3 on how awesome it would be to see Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
Fan service.
And Thrawn.
Well,
That's
Well,
yeah.
Thrawn, I don't want to say is as popular as Ahsoka. Like
No, yeah, that's
Ahsoka to your 20s to 40s Star Wars fans, the Clone Wars is it. Like we all watched that show.
Yeah, I did too,
like-
for sure.
Like some of the newer fans or like the older ones are like, oh, whatever. I don't care that they're coming out with a new season. Fuck that. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I like.
I want to
Clone
find.
Wars.
I want an ending
right
to it.
Yeah, I was really disappointed that it just sort of stopped.
Again, I think it had a part to do with the Disney merger.
Yeah.
And they, whatever. Anyway, so back to Palpatine. I think he's going to pull the strings, and that's why I don't think Kylo is going to turn good.
because Palpatine will have influence over him.
Right.
Yeah.
The other
that
thing,
makes sense.
so building on Palpatine,
Yeah.
in the, I want to say the concept art for Episode 7, The Force Awakens,
Uh huh.
there was a picture of the Death Star underwater.
Really?
Yeah. And supposedly it was supposed to have a role in it.
In Episode 7.
Right. And maybe is the Emperor's dark side power? Because, there's all these crazy theories. Like the Emperor embedded dark side powers
Into the Death Star.
into Darth Vader's helmet.
Oh.
And then
okay.
once Darth Vader's helmet came off, it released the dark side.
Oh, maybe. Or like, yeah, but Darth Vader. You see Darth Vader's helmet come off like
At the end.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but he was changing his armor one time. Remember?
Yeah. Well, that was so that people could see his face. I don't know. These are all tinfoil hat stuff.
That's true.
These are all the things that I've been looking at, waiting for this moment
Well,
to
I
talk
think
to you
his
about
mask and helmet's clearly embedded in the dark side because Kylo like cherishes that and like holds onto it so much.
this. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
What do you think, Intisar, about my craziness?
There's actually precedent for stuff like that in Legends lore, so to speak. Like there was the kids' book series about the glove of Darth Vader and stuff like that. I think the helmet makes more sense. It's more visually interesting anyway. So yeah, man, they've established that the Death Star is powered by kyber crystals, which is what powers lightsabers. So I can see how there would be dark side energy infused in the Death Star, and somehow the Emperor could use that to keep his spirit alive, or if not his whole body.
Right. Man, the whole theory crafting on all this stuff is awesome because we actually have no clue. And
It's
I didn't
fun to just pull out like
Right, and I didn't even know D23 was this weekend. And that makes it even better that we're going to get a Rise of Skywalker trailer, a real one.
that's great. I'm excited for that too. I can't wait to see it.
Okay, Nick, can I ask the next one?
Sure.
Intisar, does it matter who Rey's parents are?
No, in fact, that's the whole point of Last Jedi. It doesn't matter.
But do you think because JJ made it such a big deal in 7 that he brings that back to mean something? Like,
No.
because they were like, your parents don't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And then at the end of The Last Jedi, it shows the little boy with the broom. Like, okay, he has the Force, it doesn't matter who's her parents. That's how I read it.
I agree. That scene with the broom is one of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars. I think that is just a brilliant way to end that movie.
Oh, I want to hear why.
Oh, because the Force, anyone can be a Jedi. You don't have to be a Skywalker or a Solo. You can just be some kid with a broom. I love it. It's sort of the Force is for everyone. It's not just certain people born with the right number of midichlorians.
Right. Well, I disagree. I think we're going to find out who Rey's parents were.
I think
I don't think it matters,
No,
but I
right.
think JJ's going to say in that movie, your parents were
X.
Mr. and Mrs. Plato.
right. For me, I feel like there's so many other things I want them to get through in that movie, like having Ahsoka present, like all these Force ghosts potentially, like how did the Emperor tie into all of this? Like, is he related? I would much rather see them flesh out all of those different things and take the screen time to do that, because this isn't a series.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is a movie, Then, while I think it's likely that they will go through Rey's parentage at some point, I really hope that they don't spend a lot of time on it. Like Marcus is saying, I really hope they just kind of say, yeah, your parents were just these people, basically continuing the same storyline. They're nobody special. You don't have to be anybody special. You don't have to be a Skywalker or a Solo or whatever, like you were saying. You can just have Force abilities, and that's it. And they don't spend a whole lot of time on it, because there's so many other things I want them to get through in this movie, or at least touch upon. I don't want them to waste the screen time.
Okay.
Well, here's
Now-
my thing.
Okay.
I think that was the plan all along. If you look at the very first Force Awakens trailer, not the teaser, the full trailer, the first thing that Rey ever says, the first thing we ever hear Rey say, is that she's no one. And I don't think that's an accident. I think that was the plan all along.
And tie her in to be like the people's sort of hero. Like,
Yeah.
anybody can have this. That kind of makes sense.
Now, something that came out of this conversation is how much we need to get through in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is it going to be like a 4-hour movie?
Well, that's the question.
I wouldn't even mind
So
if it was 3 hours
all right,
and change.
Nick and I and Ari went to go see Endgame in the theater.
Yep.
We knew it was a 3-hour movie, and I haven't sat in a 3-hour movie in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will Disney pull that off? Because there's so much stuff I want answers to, or just them to touch on, that I don't. If this is truly the end of the timeline,
Yeah.
because they've kind of said that this is the end of the story, nothing will be past this. So if this is the end of the timeline and everything else will be before it, they got a bunch of things to answer. Is Disney going to put a 3-hour movie out for this movie?
I sincerely hope so. But
It would not surprise me.
yeah, I don't know that they will, though. I feel like I'm very hesitant to be like, yeah, they're going to, because when's the last time, like, so we have Endgame that's a 3-hour movie. When's the last, like, big movie that they put out that was, like, that long?
None.
And, like, Revenge of the Sith.
Return of the
was not-
King was, I think, 3 hours long.
Right.
Right.
So the last Lord of the Rings movie was Revenge of the Sith 3 hours? I don't think so. It was
No.
2 and change.
No.
Because 3-hour movies don't sell as well at the box office, right? In theory.
No. That
Like,
brings-
that's why people don't. That's why a lot of studios avoid that length.
people are going to flood to go see this.
I think they should do it. 3. I don't think they should really care, even if it's 3.5 hours. Like, It shouldn't matter. In my head, I'm saying if I was a Disney executive, I'd be like, yeah, cover everything in there, and take 3.5 hours. I would cap it at 3 hours and 45 minutes. I think a 4-hour movie is too much.
That's way too long.
Yeah.
I don't think it can go that long.
I think 3.5 hours is like the reasonable cap.
I think 3. Because
If it was like 3 hours and 5 minutes, that's fine.
I have a good bladder, but I don't know if I could do a 3.5 hour movie without getting up.
Without an intermission.
My watch would be screaming at me to stand up.
I turned off that notification. But yeah, I agree. I don't know. I hope they do, because I think you need that time, that screen time, to get through everything properly, you know?
Let's hope. Now we're going to build one step further.
Okay.
Is Disney going to finally get their respect back after episode 9?
Like, oh, I see what you're saying.
Because right now people are down on Star Wars. Now, do I think this... I said it before that I thought it was going to be one of the biggest movies ever that comes out because it's the last of the saga.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Star Wars fans are so salty that I don't think it will be. It's not going to be Endgame. There's no way.
I think Endgame will be the top, the tippity top.
It is already.
Right, that's what I mean. It'll stay that after episode 9.
But will Disney get their respect back after episode 9, Intisar?
I don't. I think there are some people who will never be on board with Disney Star Wars. Once like Disney Plus gets rolling and we start getting some shows, and the shows are good. Like I think Mandalorian will be good. I hope the Obi-Wan thing is good. I think if they have like a good library of stuff that you don't have to like The Last Jedi, but hey, Rogue One was good, and check out Mandalorian if you like Rogue One. I think if there's a good variety of stuff that you don't have to like everything, but there's enough there for people to like, I think then people will be on board with Disney.
Let's just be honest. Rogue One is one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, especially Star Wars movies. It's probably...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Because,
I loved Rogue One.
And, somebody said to me once, it's easy to make a movie that you know the ending.
I think it could be harder.
But everybody died, and everybody didn't think Disney was going to do it. They did it.
I think that's the aspect of that movie that kept people on their toes. It's like, will Disney actually... So, in theory, you knew everybody was going to die, but the whole time you're like, okay, is Disney actually going to say that everyone died here? Or is like your hero going to escape miraculously or something? So I think that's what kept the tension in that movie. Otherwise, it'd be not that compelling to like actually have tension because if you already knew the ending. But I loved Rogue One.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer that question, will Disney get some respect from Episode 9? I think it depends what they do. I think a lot. Intisar had some good points. Like the people who dislike The Last Jedi, a lot of them are so salty that they just won't go see it. But I think if they do things properly and they can pull it off, I think it'll be a big redemption for a lot of people, and it definitely has the potential to be a nice wrap up to the whole saga. In a similar way that Endgame was for the whole string of the Marvel universe,
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we kind of touched on it earlier. Do we care about Snoke or like who he was or his background or things like that? Do we want to see that in Episode 9?
I saw the prequels. I know how that story goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't really care. I in the same way, like I feel similarly to this as I do for race parentage. Like if they address it, great, but don't spend a lot of time on it. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, he was.
The only way I care is if it was Palpatine the whole time.
Then I would care. I would care if it's Palpatine, like like taking him over basically.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would care. But still, I want Palpatine. I don't care about like. I don't spend too much screen time explaining that, like 5-10 minutes or something.
Okay.
At the most. So I threw a couple of funny questions in here when we were formulating these notes. Do you guys think that Jar Jar Binks from Episode 1 can use the Force?
No.
No. There's that whole Jar Jar the Dark Lord joke thing going around, but...
You don't think so?
No.
No, I think I don't either. I think he's just a blubbering idiot, but that is a fun sort of conspiracy theory to toss around.
Sure.
So I don't know if you've also seen E.T. and Star Wars are potentially in the same universe. So in one of the, I forget.
Is that a
which episode.
meme?
Yeah, I posted a little picture in the show notes. So
Yeah, I think it was episode 2 or episode 3. He's in the Senate.
He's in the Senate. There's a bunch of E.T. aliens, but then also somebody's wearing a Yoda character in the E.T. movie, and E.T. looks at Yoda and says, "Home," because apparently E.T. and Yoda are from the same galaxy.
Interesting.
So it's like a little nod back. I think realistically, it's just a nod back and forth between George Lucas and Steven Spielberg because they're
Sure.
friends, and those are their respective
Well,
movies. But
it's kind of like we want Pusevich to put working class nerds inside Duxon.
yeah, because we're friends. It's what friends do. They reference each other's content.
Sure.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Makes perfect sense.
So, the rumors out and about say that the new movie series / TV show series is going to be based in the Old Republic. Potentially that whatever project Weiss and Benioff from Game of Thrones are involved in. So, what do you guys think about that? Are you happy that they would like to go to the Old Republic? Or what would you like to see them cover potentially?
You want to take this first, or do you want me to?
I'll go.
All right.
First off, like the Old Republic, it's 1,000 generations. It's 20,000 years. So that is a huge period of time. So what does that even mean to say that it's the Old Republic? Like, I don't think they're going to do a Revan movie. I don't think they're going to do like a Darth Malgus movie. They might toss in some references to the Old Republic timeline and games, but I think, maybe they'll do it 5,000 years ago instead of 3,000 years ago or 500 years ago. Like, who knows? There's all this unexplored territory, even if you count in the Legends material. So who knows what that even means?
Personally, what I want and what I think they're going to do is two different things. I would love for them to be like to do something with Revan or do something with, Malgus and like the Star Wars The Old Republic sort of timeline. But I kind of agree with you. I don't think they're going to. I think they want like complete and utter creative freedom to make a unique story that they can then market and stuff like that. That's not tied to things that are already in existence. So what I predict is they'll probably do something just either before or just after like Star Wars The Old Republic, like the game and KOTOR and things like that, so that they can, like you said, reference things like that. And people go, ooh, cool, like that's the Mask of Revan that the guy just found, or that's Malgus's like lightsaber or something, or whatever, but not directly incorporate the characters so that they can have their own complete creative freedom,
I disagree with both of you.
Okay. Let's hear.
So Revan is the most popular character there is, other than the Skywalker saga cast members.
Right.
Right. Everybody dresses as him. I mean, he's just there.
Yeah.
And if they're gonna do another trilogy, which I don't know if they're gonna.
I don't know if it's a trilogy or a TV
Well, no,
series,
they said there's a trilogy coming.
Right.
But I don't know if that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to get into that in 1 sec. Let me just dive.
Okay.
So why not make a trilogy about Revan's Darth Vader story? He starts off as a Jedi.
Yeah.
Goes to a planet, gets turned to the dark side because of the Emperor with Malak, then gets redeemed and comes back.
Right.
Perfect Disney story.
That's true.
Okay?
Perfect redemption arc.
What is there in the Old Republic that there isn't now?
Lightsabers.
Correct. An endless amount of lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
What sells on the shelves?
Also lightsabers.
Correct. Disney needs to make merchandise that sells more than anything else. Like, yeah, they're selling stuff now, but if you go into the toy aisle, it's not like when we were kids. There's like 3 toys in the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
How do they take over the Targets of the world now, or the Amazons?
They should make build your own lightsaber product.
Well, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So I'm going to go one step further now and say I think that the movie generation right now is going away. Like, Endgame is huge, but if you think about TV shows like Netflix and Amazon Prime and now Disney Plus. Like Disney Plus is going to come out at $6.99 or $7.99 a month. I mean, who isn't going to buy that streaming service?
Yeah, I'll buy it. Why not?
Why would you ever need anything else?
Right.
Because who cares about Netflix once all of that content is gone? In my opinion.
Well, I watch a lot of Netflix.
Well, I like
for
Stranger
sure.
Things, but I guess okay. Why not make TV shows and seasons for the Old Republic or whatever the next branch is, like the Obi-Wan or the Mandalorian? Because it's endless.
Right.
You don't have to pack an entire entire movie into one show. You can spread it over 6 seasons,
Sure.
and the money doesn't stop.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Where the problem with movies now is they have to rush through to make sure they fit everything in. Look
And it's
at
crazy expensive too.
the show that you loved, Game of
Thrones.
Shows. Yeah, Game of Thrones. I got to season 3. I just
You can-
anyway.
Yeah.
But
not a show
But
for
that
you.
no, it was a good show. But my point is they stretched that out over all those seasons.
Yeah.
And I think they rushed the last season.
They definitely did. Yep.
But
Yep.
but that was an epic story, and that was all because HBO was cheap as shit, and they didn't want to pay those actors anymore.
No, it was HBO did want to pay the actors. It was the two showrunners, Weitz and Benioff, who didn't want to do it anymore, and they cut it short. But your point still stands. They rushed the ending, and you can with a TV show, you have the ability to take your time, unlike a movie where you don't.
And Disney is patient,
Right. Right.
so
So I think I agree with your point. I would much rather them take their time with an Old Republic show than a movie.
right. So that's the Revan story.
Right.
The Old Republic movie we're gonna get is the Dawn of the Jedi with the Sith. Though I think it's going to be the beginning of the Jedi and the Sith, and it's going to go to the old Sith War. And,
Okay.
And when the massive war, right before the Mandalorian Wars and all that stuff, I think that's because that's the height of Jedi and height of Sith, and the conflict between them, and I think that's going to be the trilogy. And I think Intisar's right, you're right. One of you guys said they want their own property.
Yeah.
That's they want start the story,
They want to.
so they have the end.
Yeah, they want to start it now,
Start it.
and then they'll fill the middle with content.
Correct. Because
Yeah.
if you ever read the Dawn of the Jedi books, like the beginning, it's pretty fascinating to hear like how all this stuff started, even though that's legends and it's not canon.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about my craziness?
That's a good point, and that's a great selling point. It's see how the Jedi and the Sith began. I don't think they're going to use any of the Legends materials for that. So no Exar Kun and no Ood Benar, none of the stuff that we know from the comics and the Old Republic games. I think they'll start completely from scratch and build up their own mythology. And where that leaves SWTOR, that's anybody's question.
Well, so we have 2 years. So the licensing is 10 years old, right?
It's 10
And-
years in total.
10 years once the game released.
Right.
So when the license is up, that's going to decide it. Because Disney could be like, even if SWTOR is thriving, they could say, "Yep, let's do it." You know what I mean? But Disney could be like, "Nope, we want all the property." So, but I think they're going to be crazy to not cash in on this, because this would be the time to do it. And I think we're going to get the announcement for it at D23 this year. The Old Republic. They're going to say something out there, in my opinion.
I hope so.
Or at some other conference this year. Something is going to be announced. Maybe it's on Disney Plus. It'll be a commercial. Something is going to come out that says we're committing to the Old Republic.
I hope so.
I think it won't be until Celebration next year.
Oh, that's a good call. There it is.
Yeah.
Anaheim 2020. I will not be there.
Yeah, too far for me.
Well, it's not that it's too far. It's just too expensive. Like, the hotels are crazy. You think New York is expensive? Oof.
Yeah. Anaheim's right outside of LA, basically, right?
And my final thoughts here
Yep.
are thanks both of you guys, because I definitely had some crazy things. And the last thing is, I would love to see Mara Jade come back.
Mara Jade.
Legends.
Oh.
She was the hand of the Emperor.
Oh, right.
and she ended up being Luke's wife.
Whoa.
And I'm not saying I just would like to see her back or mentioned because her character was awesome. And
I would, if there was anything that we've talked about today that I would bet money on, it's Mara Jade coming back. And I think a Mara Jade TV show would be really cool, and it would be a great way to bring the character back. And I honestly think she's more interesting like without Luke Skywalker. So I would love to see like a Mara Jade doing her own thing than her just being Luke's girlfriend.
I think, yeah, they could fill in the role where she was his girlfriend and then like she went back to the dark side or something. But like, there's no references to her, so I think you're right. That would be awesome. Bring her back.
That sounds great to me.
I think Mara Jade is maybe after Ahsoka now is like the most popular Legends character, even more than Revan.
Wow.
Really?
I think Revan's
Oh,
the
for
most
sure.
popular.
See, I don't follow enough people. That's a great Twitter question.
Who's the most popular? Who's your favorite
Legends character? Yeah, Revan.
Revan.
I'm going to
Mara
make that
Jade.
Twitter post.
You
That's an
definitely should.
awesome poll. Thanks, Intisar.
Sure.
Thanks for coming on the show too.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. This was fun. I can talk about this stuff all day and all night.
Well, we sure talked about it for an hour and a half, so you'll have to come back on sometime, and hopefully we can do some operations soon together.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of Working Class Nerds.